In our last segment, we learned that everyone is a minister, both lay and ordained. We learned that there are many ways in which to live out our ministries. In this segment, we will discuss the Book of Common Prayer and take a look at some of the sacraments we use in worship. Worship is one of the reasons why so many people are drawn to the Episcopal Church. Our worship is filled with dignity, symbolism, reverence, all of which signify God's presence among us. Worship should be a regular discipline. When we worship, we come to understand in a more profound way who we are and whose we are. Worship changes the way we understand God, ourselves, our families, and the world around us. We understand that it is through our liturgy that we are formed, informed, and transformed. We often refer to our worship as liturgy, a word that means the work of the people, both lay and ordained. The guide to our liturgy is contained in the Book of Common Prayer. The Book of Common Prayer is used throughout the Anglican Communion. Someone traveling to another country and attending an Anglican or Episcopal church would find the services very similar, with the exception of language.
The Book of Common Prayer is the guide to our worship. It's how we know how we are going to worship together, first of all. That's why it's called Common Prayer, because it's designed to be equally available to everyone. So in a sense, it's a kind of a technology that empowers people to enter into the worship 100% from the moment they walk into the room.
Within the prayer book are found services for any time of day, morning, noon, evening, even a service to be read before bedtime. In daily devotions, one can find prayers for individuals and families. Prayers for holy days, saints, various occasions, and every Sunday of the year have a special section called the Collects. There is a section for special liturgies, such as Ash Wednesday or Palm Sunday. There is a section for baptism and several variations of the Eucharist. There is a series of services that include confirmation, marriage, burial, and other services. There are special services for ordination, new ministries, and the consecration of a church. The Psalms are printed in their entirety in the prayer book. Specific prayers for many occasions are found in the Prayers and Thanksgiving section. The Catechism and historical documents of the Church follow. The Eucharistic Lectionary and the Daily Office Lectionary, which are calendars of scripture readings for the church year, are found at the back of the prayer book, along with a calendar of special feast days. The prayer book offers many forms for worship. Some services can be led by a layperson. Others require the presence of an ordained minister. Some of the services can be said alone, while others are designed for a group. The style of worship can vary from congregation to congregation. Some services are quiet and introspective. Others are extroverted and lively. There are traditional and contemporary styles of worship. And yet, within this great diversity, there is one common thread: the transformation we experience in our lives through faith in Jesus Christ. We receive this transformation through the sacraments. The great theologian Augustine defined a sacrament as an outward and visible sign of an inward and spiritual grace. In the sacraments given to us by Christ, we recognize the very ordinary and common stuff of life as holy. This understanding is given to us by God's grace. When God's grace fills our vision, ordinary things such as water, wedding rings, bread and wine become holy things. And yet the relationship between the outward and the inward is fundamentally a mystery. It cannot be explained. It can be only received by faith. At the heart of all of our worship is a sacrament we call the Eucharist. The first half of the Eucharistic liturgy has its roots in Jewish worship traditions. The early Christian Church added Holy Communion in a second part to their worship commemorating Jesus' death and resurrection. We believe that through receiving the sacrament of bread and wine, Jesus continues to be present with us today. Sometimes called the Mass, the Lord's Supper, or Holy Communion. The word Eucharist comes from a Greek word that means thanksgiving. The Eucharist is a celebration of the good things that God has given us, and is a way of offering ourselves in thanksgiving to God's service. Worship is a celebration, and like a celebration in our homes, the Eucharist calls for us to offer our best. We decorate with flowers. We cover the altar with a fine linen cloth. Candles represent Jesus, the light of the world. Instead of an everyday plate, we put the bread for the Eucharist on a paten. The wine is served from a chalice. Altar Guild members prepare the table for Holy Communion. The Eucharist connects us with Christ in a very real way. We come to the Eucharistic table as the family of God, a table to which all people are invited. We come in faith, knowing that our understanding is incomplete, but that we are strengthened by this meal. Jesus told us that wherever two or more gather in His name, there He would be also. So in every worship service, at any time, in any number, we are assured of Jesus' presence. Episcopal worship is an expression of our faith. Coming up in our final segment, you'll see an instructed version of the Holy Eucharist and gain a better understanding of why and how we celebrate it as Episcopal worship continues.